Yeah, awesome. Nice one. Yeah, so literally when you log in, you're going to get a screen like this. So at the top left-hand corner, it's probably going to be saying who your mentor is or your work coach is. So generally, if you're digital, it's probably going to say Helen Whiting, or it may still say Daniel Cowan, but he's leaving the business basically. If you're accountancy or BA, it will probably say either Sarah or Roger. Is that correct? Are they sort of names that are floating around your screens?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when we come down to here, this is probably one of the most important things. So every single one of your programs is made up of basically what's called components. And the components are literally everything. So it's every review, every bit of studying, every lesson, everything. So when we build a program, we have to define all the characteristics that are going to make up your program, and also we have to guesstimate how long we think all of this is going to take. So when I say the word component, what I'm literally talking about, if I click on my learning plan, each one of these is a component. So if I look back at my dashboard, it is saying my program is made up of 62 components. In theory, and I would say this is true 99% of the time, once you have completed all your components, you will have completed your apprenticeship. It's literally as simple as that. So if we look at today, we've got an induction component here today. We'll have a little play with that in a minute. You've also got some e-learning here. So as you complete these, and these are signed off by your I was going to say oppressor then, your assessor or your work coach. Oppressor might actually be the right word, but anyway, these will all get completed. So the more you complete, you make progress. Equally, a lot of them have dates where we think they should be done. So most of these induction components are normally like day 1, week 1. So that's why you can see a lot of them will probably say they're overdue. Yeah. So a lot of you, or even now, you've probably got 3 or 4 overdue components. The reason that is it's expecting for that bit of work to have been done by today. So as they're signed off and completed, they'll disappear. So what we've also got here is really important is your dates. So this start date will usually be your induction day. So that is the day you are starting your apprenticeship. This date here, as you'll remember when they were hopefully going through the induction, they'd have said what you basically do with us is what's called the on-program learning side of things. So we basically get you ready. We teach you all your knowledge, skills and behaviours. So behind every apprenticeship, there's a standard. We teach you the knowledge, skills and behaviours you need to do your job. And we've identified how long we think this process takes. And this is the date where we believe we will be done. So we'll be looking for you to enter your gateway by this point in time. We've then got this little gap here, which is the gap between gateway and EPA. Can anyone explain to me what EPA is, just quickly, in their own words?
It's an endpoint assessment. So it's like a unguided assessment of your skills, basically, and how you can work independently to demonstrate what you've learned.
Yeah, that's quite good. Yes, so there'll be there's a completely independent body which is nothing to do with us, and they will carry out your endpoint assessment. So we can't influence them, we can't impact them or anything. So our role as your training provider is to get you ready for that endpoint assessment. Their job is to check your competency. So everything we do and every way we're trying to help you, it's not for us, it's for you so you can pass your apprenticeship. So we're more like advisors and guides and things like that. It's really sort of down to you. So for the accountancy people, AAT are the endpoint assessment organisation. For ICT, it's BCS, so the British Computing Society, and for BA, so business administration, it is a company organisation called Highfield. And every single standard has its own endpoint assessment. So some of you will do an interview, some of you might have an exam, some of you might have a simulation. It's all completely different depending on your standard. So we allow 3 months for those components to take place. And then hopefully at the latest, sometimes ideally we can sometimes sneak things forwards a little bit. This is when we think you'll have completed your apprenticeship and you will have your final result. Okay, so this is really your target date. So if you start missing targets and deadlines, this might end up getting extended. Ideally, that's not a situation we want to get into. So this is your real target date we're looking for. And your whole program will be built around us achieving that date. So with that in mind, if you all go to documents, compliance documents, and then training schedule, unlike me, you should all have a Word document in there. And it will be something like this. Have I got a accountancy one? Yes, I have. Right, so everyone got something that resembles that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Anyone, actually probably more importantly, anyone not got a document that looks like that? Okay, I'll assume everybody. Lily, have you got a document that looks like that? Oops, someone's typing. Okay, no worries. I'll talk about it anyway. Let me know if you haven't got one. So everyone should, it's not a real big panic. So there's two different types. So type 1, so most of our digital, most of our accountancy programs are going to look like this. What it is these are all like the planned sessions. So you'll have the date the session's going to take place, the day, how long the session's going to be, and then basically what it is. So in this case, what we're saying is, so for accountancy, so I guess everyone who's a level 3 accountant, your first session is going to be the 5th of December, and it's going to be a coaching session. And then you'll have another session on the 19th to the 12th, and then you'll get into your first bit of training. A level 2 accountant is going to have a similar sort of thing, but they'll probably find they've got some e-learning listed, which means you'll have access to an e-learning package. And again, you'll be plugged into these dates as well. And this literally says, this is your schedule isn't everything, but what this is these are these are mainly your face-to-face activities or online, whatever you want to call it, your online tutor sessions, your remote learning. And these are the really important dates. So what I say to all apprentices, I strongly recommend you get these in your calendar. So if you're using Outlook or whatever it may be, get them in your calendar so you don't forget. And this will basically dictate when your training is going to happen. Now, for the digital programs, it's a little bit different. And if we look at this, you'll see what the digital programs have is they have pre-reading. So the digital programs will get access to a package called You Certify. And what we're basically saying here is, obviously this is an older program. We're saying we want you to pre-read these lessons because this session here is all going to be about these lessons. So this needs to be done prior to you turning up for the session. Is that okay for all the digital people? Do you get that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. Brilliant. Thank you. Right, so your schedule is really important. You need to be aware of that. It's like this morning, I wasted about 15 minutes chasing people because they hadn't turned up. One of my apprentices even told me, oh yeah, I've only just got out of bed. I set the alarm late. I said, all right. I said, did your boss pay you to be here today? Yeah. What time did you start work? 9 o'clock. So why am I having to chase you at 9:15? I'm not a horrible person, but you can see, I think I've got a point. Do you know what I mean? It's not, if your boss is giving you time to have a bit of time to have time off, use it wisely. Don't take the mickey because they really don't appreciate it. Yeah, so each one of these, so that's our components and that's your schedule. So that will dictate all the lessons you're going to be having. Also, so when I look here, if I look at my schedule, obviously mine won't match up. All these components, let me get one of you open. Who's a digital person for a minute? Just give me your name and I'll quickly just open up your schedule.
I am Daniel.
Daniel. Okay, awesome. Is that Daniel C?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Right. Okay. Yeah, so when Daniel looks at his schedule, he's got the same, most of you have all got the same, and then what he'll see is there'll be, oh, she done it. She's not done it yet. No, she hasn't done it yet. Okay, don't worry. These still need booking in. I'll chase Sophie up in a minute. So these will be scheduled into your program. So as you can see here, not that you'll be able to see it exactly, but Daniel's schedule will say lesson 1 covers topics 1, 2, and 3. And that will be scheduled to happen yeah, it's all right. So Sophie just, sometimes this gets done the day after induction. So what will happen is Sophie will go in, not that you need to see this side of things, but it doesn't really matter, and she'll book in all these dates that will happen. So if some of your schedules don't look quite right, if you look at the bottom, there's this bit that says learning components, and this is everything that isn't booked in yet. So I'll have a word with Sophie at the end of today, and we'll just get all this tidied up. But basically what will happen is you will end up with the e-learning component and then the learning in the same area, and it will basically all be sequenced as per your schedule. So that's the same for, let me just have a quick look at who's an accountant? Anyone an accountant?
Yeah. Me, yeah.
What's is that Moose? Let's sort of see if yours has been booked in yet. Okay. Just have a quick look. No, so that's not been booked in yet either. Okay, don't worry. It's not. Let me just see if I can just show you somebody who already exists. Just so you can get a feel. It'll, as I said, it'll all get tidied up. Yeah, so like this is basically a young man that I had today. So as you'll see, his e-learning happens prior to the session, and everyone will be sort of be scheduled like that. So with the accountants, what will happen is you'll see they will literally in the right month it will have coaching session, and then when if I click on that, for example, it'll tell you the date that it's going to happen and the time, and all that will be built in. So for most of you, so one thing I tend to say that's quite a good little tool is if you use your filters, you can just very quickly see what's going on. So if I think, oh, right, when's my next remote session? Remote sessions are always in as scheduled online events. So if I filter by that, I can see when all my remote sessions are going to happen. Now, probably if you guys aren't booked in yet, it's not going to have a lot of impact. But what will generally happen is, so I can go, oh, right, Azure, right, when have I got that? Oh, right, I've got it on the 6th of the 2nd, which will literally match your schedule. And what time is it going to happen? And when I want to go into these when I want to go into these events, you might even be able, no, may or may not work. When you want to go into these, you literally click on the component, and down the bottom, it will say join Zoom. And there'll be a big blue button, and you literally hit that and hit join Zoom. And that will get you into the session. But rather than using Teams, you'll actually use Zoom. And what also happens, which is quite handy, if I go to completed one, it will also record the entire session. So you'll be able to go back and refer to that session. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the main sort of components that you sort of care about in your program and that are going to impact you are going to be. Let me just go back to my demo user again. So you're going to have your. So you'll have your scheduled. See, it says scheduled online event there. Your scheduled online event are all your remote trainings. That means you're going to be dialing in for a remote session. So like I said, you just click on it. There'll be a big blue button that says join Zoom. You just come in. The other thing you're going to have is going to be, again, this is quite a useful tool, just a bit quicker. The other thing you're going to have is reviews. Throughout your program, you will have a series of reviews. So normally the first one is in the first 2 weeks, your work coach will arrange a review with you. One really important, like a 2-week check-in call. This is just like a little touch base. Are you okay? Is everything going okay? Do you need anything? They may or may not set a little bit of work. Big thing though, these are all predicted dates. So when we set up the system, we had to say, right, we want that to happen in week 2. We want that to happen to week 4, week 10, So these dates are all predicted. So don't suddenly panic and go, oh my God, I've got a 2-week call on the 8th and the 9th and I'm away on holiday or I'm absent or whatever. Your work coach will give you a call or send you an email and they'll say, right, are you free on, obviously not relevant now. Yeah, this is quite an old person, but are you free on the 6th or the 11th? Yes, I am free. No, I'm not. Right, can we find a date around those dates? So don't straight away worry that this is literally set in stone. These are all predicted. And all it is we can make sure that the reviews are happening roughly when they should be happening. So until you speak to a work coach, these aren't set in stone. So we've got our online events, we've got our reviews. The other thing you need to be mindful of is assignments. So these are literally pieces of work that you'll be asked to do by your work coach. And that'll be linked to you capturing. So as probably most of you realised, when you went through the EPA bit, I think, yeah, every single program here at EPA will have to do an interview supported by a portfolio. So all of you throughout your job are going to be collecting evidence. Now, obviously, you all need completely different stuff. So this program is, what am I on? So this is, for example, the accountancy one. So I'm being asked to capture evidence about business awareness. Again, your work coach, when they do their first review, they will set these assignments. And again, they'll go through all of this, but when you do an assignment, you literally just, you completely read the brief, capture the evidence, produce it, and then you'll upload it. When you upload it, you literally put, and again, your work coach will go over this again, so don't panic too much. Product of evidence, the date you're uploading it, how long it took you to do. Now, let's say I had a massive piece of work that maybe took me 2 or 3 days. Generally, what we say is don't put any so was off the job explained to you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's right.
So, cool. So what we generally say is don't put any entry in that's longer than a contracted day. So if I put in 20 hours, people are instantly going to go, well, hang about, you only work 8 hours a day. How did you do that? Spend 20 hours on that bit of work? So what I tend to recommend, and you work coaches might say something that's different, but say I uploaded it, I don't know, I might put 5 hours, but I knew there was another 3 or 4 hours in there preparing that piece of work. I would save that. And then also what I would just put with it is a little note. You can either do CPD or product of evidence. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter too much, to be honest. I would then put the other 4 hours in there. Go, I spent 4 hours collecting and gathering evidence relating to role to show my ability at using systems, or something like that. Again, it doesn't have to be an autobiography, just something short, succinct, but clear. Just sort of nice, simple, clear. So the big thing is, what did you learn and how? So in this case, I'm proving that I can use systems that underpin accountancy systems, and that will just support that entry. So that is basically another type of component that we'll be looking at. So we've got reviews, we've got our scheduled online learning, which is our training. We'll then have our assignments. Now they'll be assigned to you by your work coaches. And the only other thing that's probably prominent at the moment is these ones here. So what will have happened is when your employer decided to take on an apprentice, we would have asked them, right, how much training are you going to give them? Right, we don't know that. It's completely independent by employer, but because of the ESFA, we have to have all this planned in advance. So generally your employer is going to say, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 hours. We will document that, and what we will do is we will then assign so many hours to this piece of work, this component. And what you need to do is start collect. So you'll be putting all the entries in. So say I spent the day with my apprentice. So I think I've just got some pre-built examples here. If I do edit, save me typing out again. So for example, I spent the day with my mentor who trained me in Xero and how to run financial reports. That's fine. How long you took it, hit save. Then maybe the next day, I spent the day shadowing a second line support engineer. Obviously, we're jumping now into the ICT world, where I learned about software use, hit save. So this should be a diary of all your activities. So in theory, if your employer has said, I'm going to give them about 40, 50 hours of training, for example, over time, we should see 40, 50 hours appear in this workplace component. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. And there's one per month. And it really is a 5-second job. It is unfortunately a job that gets neglected, but you'll see there's what. So if I got any training, so we're in end of November, we'll say December. So my December workplace training component would have all my training for December, my January one, and you'll see there's one per month. So if that is empty, what are you telling me as your work coach? If you've put no entries in it, you're telling me two things, probably actually. What are the two things you're telling me?
That we're not clocking the hours?
That's one option. Yeah. What's the second option?
You're not doing any work.
Not necessarily you're not doing any work. What hasn't happened? What triggers me putting this entry in?
Getting paid?
Not getting paid. Who's meant to be training you? As well as us. Who else is training you?
Our mentors.
Yeah, your employer.
Yeah.
So if you leave this entry blank, two things have happened. One, you couldn't be bothered. Yeah, because you're busy or whatever it may be. Or two, you've not been trained. So what you don't want to be in a situation is when you have a review, is your work coach sitting down and going, oh, right, so you've not trained your apprentice this month. And then them going, hang about, whoa, wait a minute. I gave them a week's worth of Xero training. I sent them on a customer service course. I taught them how to build a server. I showed them how to do double entry bookkeeping. So it can make for quite an awkward conversation. So what I say is, I know it's a pain. Off the job it's not great because you don't get anything out of it really. I understand that. We get nothing out of it. It is an auditing thing. So I get why it is a little bit of a chore. I can't even argue with it, unfortunately. I wish I could, but it is a thing we have, a rule and regulation we have to adhere to. So I just say on a weekly basis, or if you're really good, daily basis, just get into the habit of recording it. The other thing is, so your organisation says we're going to spend 40 hours training them, for example. What part of your program do you think you're going to get most of your training? Start, middle, end?
Start.
Start, yeah. You walk through the door. You don't even know where the toilet is. Not that you can put that down as off-the-job training, right? But, so you walk through the door. I know nothing. So these first 3 months, are probably going to be where most of the workplace training happens. So if you put nothing in month 1, all of a sudden I've now lost 10, 20, 30 hours because you're going to be going, I can't really remember. Oh, yeah. And that's what happens. You just forget. You forget about the day you spent with the mentor. You forget about the course you went on. You forget to just get into the habit of it. It just makes life a lot easier. So we've got so as I said, we've got our reviews. We've got our scheduled online training. We've got our workplace learning. We've got our assignments. And then for some of you, the other thing we've got is the digital learning. Not digital learning. Where are we? I have to go to the bottom of this one. Yes, we've got what might be called independent study, or for the digital people, I think it's worded just slightly differently. Yes, it will say e-learning. So that's set as online training external. And this is where I'm going to go and use, so in this case it's digital, so I'm going to be using a site called UCertify, and I'm going to go on and do some learning. With this, and again, your work coach will go through it, and I shouldn't have done that link, should I? No, right. All you've literally got to do is add a note to say that learning's been completed. Sometimes the work coaches, I don't think I'm showing anything particularly confident. Yeah, you'll actually upload your quiz at the end just to prove that you've gone in and done it, and that just demonstrates the learning's taken place. Because what you'll find is all of these components have basically got hours assigned to them. So if you notice here, it says CompTIA e-learning 1, we've estimated it's going to take 4 hours. When I go into the component, you can literally see, where are we? Planned hours, 4 hours. And that's where it works out. That's where it gets this planned hours from here. So was this explained to you at all? Was this bit explained?
Yeah, like it's an estimated based on what you answered in the beginning when you first joined.
Yeah, so this is the legal minimum requirement. This is what our program is built around. Invariably, this number will be bigger than this number.
Yeah.
This is the off the job you've submitted. Once your work coach approves it, it will turn to completed. And then that's sort of the foot. Don't worry about that bit too much at the end. So that just keeps a track of how much off the job's been done. Are you on target? Yeah. So like here, you can see plans 438. The minimum legal requirements 438. The planned is 488. At the moment, he's submitted 290 hours. So he's well on target. And then we can see what's being submitted on a monthly basis. So on these 2 months, this month he was a little bit over target. This little month he was a little bit under target. And again, this just shows, so this program's got, yes, this was a slightly bigger program. So he's completed 66 components, and he's got 76 left. But this program was built slightly differently. Okay, so let me just go back. So that is pretty much all of the entries. The other thing as well with your scheduled online learning, when you come in for a remote session, that is automatically recorded for you. And the nice thing as well is that will do all the off the job for you. You don't even have to think about that. As long as you turn up for the session and you're present, the system will automatically record your presence. So that's the thing. You can just forget about that. What else is there? What else is important? Done all that, done that. As you, did someone explain to you about what a standard is and what criteria are and stuff like that?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay, just very quickly. So if I quickly go back through that presentation very, very quickly. Right. So literally, and if you're bored, and I think you'd have to be really bored, there's an organisation called IFATE, which is the Institute for Apprenticeships, and basically what it is behind every single apprenticeship there is a document called a standard. So I, as an apprenticeship provider, I can't just say, oh, I'm going to deliver this because I fancy delivering that. What has happened is organisations that are industry experts or leaders in the market. So in this case, this is the accountancy level 3 apprenticeship. And if we look at the employees involved, you can see Derbyshire NHS Trust, the Environment Agency, Tax Assist, KPMG. And what they did is they all got together in what's called a trailblazer group. And they sat down and they said, right, what does a level 3 accountant look like? What does an information communication technician look like at level 3? And what they said is, what knowledge, skills and behaviours should they be able to demonstrate or being competent in at the end of their programme? So every single training provider, it doesn't matter who you go to, have to adhere to the same standard. Yeah. So as a training provider, I would look at this and this dictates what I'm going to be teaching you and what I'm going to be educating you in. So if we look here, this is accountancy level 3. I expect my level 3 accountant at the end of it to be able to describe the transactional processes they're doing, how they help the stakeholders. I expect them to be able to talk about the systems they're using and how it supports and underpins the financial information. So as you can imagine, as you build your portfolio, the whole point of the assignment and the portfolio is to help provide this evidence. So your work coach is going to say, right, I want you to produce a piece of work which talks about all the different systems you use and how they help underpin accountancy. You will then use that in your endpoint assessment. Exactly the same, I think, just have a quick look. Yeah, so this is the ICT one. So we would expect in your portfolio to be a little bit of evidence about approaches to backup and storage, to understand the basics of IP addressing. So you would produce some evidence that proves you are competent in this area. So going back to where I was, what this does is this is keeping a track of that criteria. So as your evidence and work is signed off, you will head more and more closer to 100%. Generally, once you hit 100%, it means your portfolio's completed, you've done everything that's required, and you've got all the evidence you need for endpoint assessment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. Off the job we've spoken about already, and the rest I wouldn't worry about. Ignore tasks overdue. I don't like it. I turn it off now when I can build the schedules. And I think that is probably it for Aptem. Any questions on Aptem?
For the was it U-Certify?
Yep.
Training. Can you start that whenever? Like, could you go forward, or they're unlocked at certain points?
So what will happen is if you look at, so there'll be a plan. Let me get up a digital one for a minute. So this is the plan. So I don't. When's your first date? I think it's January, isn't it? CompTIA.
Yeah. It was January something.
So what will happen is we'll get you this week.
The 5th.
Yeah, probably this week. We'll purchase you Certify. You'll get a link from them and an email from me. And literally all it means is you need to read these. You need to ensure these lessons are complete before you attend that session, because this session is all going to be about that. So if you want to get a little bit ahead, get a little bit ahead. Just don't be behind, because the session's going to mean nothing to you.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah, and again, it's quite a good. I think I've got it up because I was using it this morning. Just so you can have a quick. Boop. Should have put password wrong. Oh no, I can't spell my name. There you go. Yeah, so you basically, this is the view you get. So you've got a pre-assessment which sees where you are. You then go in and literally it will map one-to-one. So you'll notice the first lesson's motherboards. The pre-reading is what lesson 1, 2, and 3. You've also got a series of cards, quizzes, and there's also some labs. So it's quite handy for getting hands-on experience because you're all going to get different. Everyone's doing stuff so different now. You can't guarantee you're going to get the experience you need, but there's also a load of labs here, and some of these use virtual machines and things like that. So it's quite good. Also, some of the programs also have little videos that summarize it all as well. And then as we get towards the end of it, we can look at using some of these tools. Let me just go back one more level. So this will help get you exam ready. If you want to take, again, you don't have to take the CompTIA exams. I'll bore you with this when we start doing the training, and I'll tell you why you should take them, but you don't have to. It's just whether you want to.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. But yeah, and it's the same for the level 2 people. You get access to a piece of software called Equal, which will give you loads of learning. So you do your introduction to bookkeeping is all pre-planned. That's your first module. Same for all the level 3 AAT and level 2 AAT will start together. You'll all do introduction to bookkeeping together, but then you'll go your separate ways, basically. And then you'll have slightly different teaching methods. So level 2 uses Equal, level 3 doesn't. Any other questions on that?
Yeah, we're good.
No? Okay, cool. Famous. Right, so and you're happy with all of this? No questions on any of this? No?
No.
No? Okay, cool.
I got the question.
Please ask away. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Do you know the assessment thing?
Say again.
Do you know when we do the assessment thing? Certainly know that I have a disability with a hearing impairment, so we all get support like through my apprenticeship journey. Like, I do get support. Like, I do get extra time for the exam, that kind of support that I need. Do they will provide the support for me or?
It will depend. I mean, again, this is probably a conversation we can take offline. If you talk to us about the sort of facilities you're looking for, the sort of support you're looking for, then we can work with you and see what you need. So again, I'm pretty sure, I think Helen's already applied. I don't know if she's applied yet or not. So we'll apply example for AAT, who'll give you extra time and things like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as I said, any questions like that, because I know you guys have probably covered quite a lot today. Your work coaches will be in contact with you pretty quickly anyway, so they're kind of a good one-to-one contact to have. But equally, if you suddenly wake up tomorrow morning and think, oh my God, what was this? What was that? I don't understand. Just give us a shout. That's literally what we're here for. The first couple of weeks can be quite daunting, so it's not a problem. Just give us a call. Right, let me just quickly. Right, so what I want everyone to do is go to Aptem, and on this component, so you should have a component called induction. Let me just check that yours isn't called something freaky, but I don't think it is. It should be just called the same. Where are we? Yeah, induction and initial. Oh, right. You got to. Oh, mate. Okay, don't worry. I'll go. I know what's going on here. No, because I initially wanted to do the induction via Zoom, but they went a different route. Has everyone got one that says induction initial learning offline?
Oh yeah, I've got that.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got a scheduled online event, but not an offline.
Have you got the one that says that? It says induction initial learning scheduled online event.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. I'll tidy this up for you. I know exactly what's going on. So, if you pick one of your choice, and I'll sort this out tomorrow. Don't worry, it's all right. I'll sort all this out for you. So pick one of your choice, or pick both and do the same thing on both if you want to be generous, because that will save me a bit of work as well. And if you then hit the button that says Add Note.
Yeah.
Yep. So if everyone does that, if anyone's stuck, let me know.
I'm stuck. So
No, that's fine. That's fine. Honestly, no stress. So if you go to, if you click on the component, yeah.
So let me.
So it's learning. Go back to the one that, yeah. So you click on the component. It will say induction.
Do you click on the learning plan to find the?
Yeah, so you should have an interface that looks like this. If you look down the left-hand side, you want the second one that says learning plan.
Yeah.
And then you should get a screen that looks like mine.
Yeah.
And then probably the first one will say induction and something learning.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yep, no problem. So you just click on that. And then it'll open up a little window on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And then you just hit the add note button.
No button. Yeah.
So at the top, put in CPD.
Was it C?
CPD. It's right at the top, first one.
Yeah.
Yep. So that just means continuous personal development. Generally, when you're uploading, so say under workplace training and places like that, whenever you upload note, just put CPD. It's fine. I think the only time you'll ever not put CPD probably is if you're uploading products of evidence for your portfolio. You want today's date, obviously. Does this count as off the job? Yes, it does. And then you want to put in 30 minutes. And then you want to put this work was completed during paid working hours. So yours should look exactly like mine.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And then what you want to do is, so out of today, unfortunately, because I expect it felt like a long day, unfortunately, the only bit that counts as off the job is the personal development bit you would have probably done with Keith. So what you need to do, don't copy this word for word because the work coaches will kill me. What you want is an entry that sort of reads along these lines. So during today's induction, I had a micro teach on personal development. In this, I learned about whatever you felt you got most out of. So maybe you didn't know about SMART targets. You didn't know about SWOT. You didn't know about the difference between hard and soft skills. So you just want to put a little 1-2 sentences in your own words. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do it. And literally just put, during today's induction, I had a micro teach. In this session, I learned about SMART targets, SWOT, using SWOT to identify skill gaps, and the difference between hard and soft skills. Just do not copy this word for word because they will kill me. Okay? And then once you're happy with it, just hit the save button.
Sorry, so that's going in the box at the bottom, obviously, that we just started filling.
That literally is going in the box at the bottom. You just started filling in, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you don't want to put in the 25th of the 8th, 21. So yeah, so literally this is just for the text bit at the bottom. So just something along those lines, just 1-2 sentences, doesn't have to be an autobiography. Just a little bit about what did I learn and how. That was all it. So I had a micro teach and I learned a bit about this, and this. Hit save. Everyone done that?
Nearly there, sorry.
Hmm?
Nearly there, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Nice one.
Sorry, then well, we just saved that.
Yeah. Just hit save.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
Sorry.
Yep. So literally, what will happen is, so you'll end up with a little file there that says require marking, and then the work coach will go in and just mark that entry. So if I go to Jack's dashboard, you will now see this 30 minutes submitted. As soon as that's completed, you'll have done your first bit of off the job. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Cool. Any questions on that, or is it okay?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Go for it.
Because some of us have been told to be already putting down off the job hours, because obviously we've started before today, would we just move dates ahead, or would they be able to be submitted like in November? Because I'm not sure how that's going to work since we start technically today.
Okay. Listen to my answer carefully.
Yeah.
All dates for off the job must start as of today.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. If you need
Yeah.
any further clarification, talk to your work coach and he'll clarify for you.
That's fine.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so legally your apprenticeship starts today, though I do know that can sometimes cause complications, but just bear in mind all off the job needs to be dated from today onwards.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. We talked about that. Yeah, so this is basically literally the equal version of that. So that's the accountancy version. So you'll get a login, you'll go in, and it will talk you through it. It's just an e-learning platform, and then that will be complemented with tutor face-to-face sessions as well. Other important things. So for all the AAT people, and this is always a little bit of a bone of contention, don't worry, because everyone forgets. Your work coaches will remember as well. In order to be able to take exams, you have to be a member. We are not allowed to pay for your membership. Your employer will pay for your membership. Any employer that's had an AAT apprentice before knows this. Make sure your membership is in place before you come to us to sit in exams. Because we've had one or two, they've turned up for on exam days. We've gone to book an exam. We can't, and that's because they've not got membership. And it can take up to 24 hours to process the membership. The other big thing as well that I highly recommend is get on there, because there's a thing called AAT's Lifelong Learning Portal. If you go into that, there is loads of free e-learning videos. There's mock exams, everything. So it's on top of everything we give you, it's a really good support tool. So the sooner you can get that, the better. If you talk to your work coaches, they can actually email you a set of instructions which tell you how you go in and create your login and everything else. But just try and remember to get it in place. There's not a desperate rush. No one's going to be setting exams for a good month or two, I wouldn't have thought. So just make sure you get it in place before your first exam. Right, so next steps. So literally last little bit and then we're done unless anyone's got any questions. If you look at your program, you will have, let me just quickly go back. You will have these components. So you've got induction you're done with now, you can forget about it. You will also have your safeguarding, Solvay digital learning, British values and side by side. So these ones They're basically it's a digital product that you go in. It is very much going to regurgitate a little bit about what Keith and Jana will have already covered. So if I just quickly, I don't think it'll hurt anything. Click on that. So you literally it's a course. You go through, and at some point during the course, you'll get a quiz. What will happen is, as you complete the quizzes, they're uploaded as evidence to your learning plan. So they will appear in here. So what will happen is your work coach will come in, they'll check that it's been completed, they'll sign the component off. So at the end, what you need to have done before the next review, before your 2-week review. So if I was you, I'd personally just log in, get it done. They probably take about 15, 20 minutes each, if that. I'd just get it done today, but it's up to you. Because I know it's been a long day. So these 3 are identical. You just click on the component, do the course, do the little quizzes. That's job's done. Side by side, similar but a little bit different. That is actually an external website. So what you need to do is click on that link. Create a login, and what you'll do is you'll take 4 little mini modules. So radicalization, staying safe online, what can we trust, British values. Each one of them gives you a certificate, and as you'll notice, number of evidence 4, you upload the 4 certificates. Once the 4 certificates are uploaded, your work coach will check it, they'll sign it off. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 components already done off your list. Okay.
I only have safeguarding and prevent and subway apprenticeship expectations. So I don't have the side-by-side training.
I'm literally in as you. If you go to December, you'll see the other 2 are there.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. What it is again, if I look in there, rather than saying day 1, I'm guessing it probably says week 1. No, saying day 2, which is slightly random. Yes, that's day 2. So, and that is probably week 1 or something crazy like that. Yeah, week 1. Yeah, so these are the ones that need completing, and all of you will have the exact same.
I can't seem to expand it from November, but I don't know. Maybe I just need to refresh.
Same as me. I can't expand it from December boys.
So if you hit there, if you do expand all, have you not got expand all at the top? Collapse all, expand all.
I do, but it's only showing me November.
Yeah, same.
Just quick question: have you got up here? Have you got any filters enabled?
No.
So you haven't got. Let me quickly go back to what you look like. Learning plan. So there's nothing up here configured.
No.
No.
And so if you try and hit one of these arrows, you don't get to expand anything.
We just don't have the arrows.
Oh, it's because it's stuck on free overdue. So if you press the X on where it says free overdue at the top, then it expands all the rest.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because sometimes also you get like this. So in this situation, it's because you've got a filter on.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool. So we're happy. Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right, good. No, it's all right. No, that's what today's for. Right. The other little thing you just need to do. Let me just quickly get this. It's just a survey from today. Just what was good, what was bad, what you liked. If there's anything you're not sure of, again, so there's an opportunity just to highlight. Ellie, did you figure out how they managed to expand everything? I'll assume that is a yes, unless you've got a question. Yeah, awesome. No worries. Yeah, I just saw your message in chat. That's all right. Yeah, so if you can just complete that survey, just go through it. Be brutally honest as well, because there's other poor souls that have got to go through this as well after you. So if you've got anything that might make it a bit more engaging, exciting, etc., please do so. Let me just come out of that. Yeah, and that is, unless anyone's got any questions on anything that you've covered today, anything you want me to go over again, just let us know, I suppose. If not, we can call it a day and you guys can escape.
Sorry, just one more question with that.
No, go for
it. those training things you just told, the side-by-side training.
Yeah.
We can do that at any point. We don't have to do it in
Right.
work.
Yeah.
To clock
Yeah.
it,
So so literally all of these things, points 1 to 4, none of them count as off the job. So you can do them at the weekend, you can do them tonight, you can do them whenever you want. Yeah. None of them have any off the job value.
Okay.
Sorry,
just checking.
I've got one more question.
No, go for it.
Where do you find the induction survey questionnaire? Where do you find that on the?
So I've just put that in chat.
Okay.
So if you go to chat, there should be a little that you should be able to see a green link. Yeah, you got that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you upload everything? Does it automatically when we have completed? How do we upload after the job for tasks we've done proofs to this induction? So just bear in mind, so with regards to the bottom bit, quickly go back to where's my demo user. So all off the job hours can only start as of today. So when you upload your off the job entry, so let's say my boss kindly gave me some training, the date on it would have to be as of today onwards. When it comes to uploading evidence, so with regards to digital learning, no, actually forget that one. With regards to my assignments, I would literally hit upload, product of evidence, the date I'm uploading it, how long it took me. This doesn't change that much if I'm honest. And then I would select the file, hit save. If I've attended a training course, Suigi, it is a scheduled online event. That's not a good example, but it is a scheduled online event. It will automatically do the hours for you. I don't have to upload or do anything. The only slight, and I don't want to muddy the water, the only slight variation to that is, so like, for example, I had a gentleman today, he broke his tooth, he had to go to an emergency dentist appointment. What he will do is he will watch the recording and then he will manually add a note. And he will say, because I missed the training session, I've now watched the recording and I learned about blah, 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 blah. And if it was a 2-hour recording, put in 2 hours and hit save. Generally, for your remote sessions, you have to do absolutely nothing. So you've got assignments, you'll have to manually do something. Your training sessions, you don't have to. So if you're an accountant, for example, most of your sessions are training and they're recorded, so you don't have to upload anything. The only other thing you may have to upload for is obviously our training I'm getting in the workplace. So if I had some training in the workplace, I would literally CPD, the day it happened, say tomorrow we go and do some zero stuff. And I confirm it's success or something. I don't know. I've not ever run a payroll in zero, so I couldn't tell you. Something along those lines. And I would literally just hit save. So again, just explain what were you taught, how were you taught it. That's really what every entry. As I said, I'm sure Keith highlighted the example. We literally have people that will put 5 hours, done portfolio stuff, done college work, shadowed my boss. We're not going to accept those entries. It's just we can't. I'd love to accept those entries, but I can't. And we're not asking them for a lot. Literally 2 sentences. But I spent the day shadowing my boss today. He showed me how to install a server. He showed me how to install, create a VM in Azure. He showed me how to whatever. That's all we're really looking for. And you just hit save, and that will go in. So in theory, every month you're probably going to end up with 10, 15 entries in here. Your work coach will go through it and just sign them all off. hopefully. Just bear in mind, avoid bank holidays, avoid weekends, avoid making the entry longer than your contracted day. So if you put an entry in for 15 hours, we'll probably send it back and say, can you break that up into pieces? So don't put an entry, I spent this week learning Zero. No. Today, I learned how to run a payroll in Zero. Today, I learned how to run financial reports in Zero, and each one would be so many hours long. Does that answer your question, Ellie? No, my pleasure. No worries. And again, your work coach will go through all the nitty gritty of stuff. So really, before your 2-week phone call, the only things you're really probably going to be doing is these things here that I've just said about. I would strongly suggest you start populating this, because like a lot of you are saying, well, I'm having really good training now, so make sure you record it and capture it. No one's expecting you to be doing any portfolio work. So the only other thing you may start doing is some of your e-learning. Okay, so don't even worry about assignments yet, because your work coach will talk to you about them and what you need to do, how you can present it and things like that. Okay?
Yeah.
As I said, we're literally just today's kickoff day, so don't panic too much. Any other questions?
5, thanks. All good.
No? Okay. Unless anyone's got anything else, I will let you escape and enjoy what is left of the day. Not that there's much.
I've got one more question.
No, honestly, that's what today's about. That's fine.
You know the compounds that we meant to complete? There are 4 of them. What's it called? Like, do we need to complete safeguarding, prevent, e-learning, British Founding? Do we need to complete this for any time? Like, can we do it on the weekends? And then after that, once you complete and then you will get a certificate for lead. Do we have to upload it on that program or?
No, yeah. So you can do these. You can do those modules whenever you want. So you can do them weekend, evening, whatever you want to do. So that's fine. And what will happen is, as you do the quizzes, it will automatically, so you don't have to do anything, put a little file. Let me see if I've got one. I'll show you. I've got Jazik up still. Yes, it'll literally put a little report in for you. You don't have to do any of this, and the work coach will just check it and sign it off. So in this case, Jazik's gone in, he's completed the training, he's generated the file, the work coach has then gone in and just signed it off.
Okay, so you don't need to do anything, so it will be automatically uploaded by itself, basically.
Yep, that's correct.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's it. That's what today's all about, is answering questions. Anybody got anything else? No? Okay. I will leave. Right. Okay. Well, I'll leave you to it. Thank you very much for your attention. As I said, get the survey done. I'd be grateful if you get that done, because it's just helpful to get your input, because you might go, oh, yeah, this was good. This was bad. Why don't you do a bit more of this? So it's always good to get your insight as well. For all the digital ones, I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon, probably in the new year. So, yeah. But again, if you've got any questions or anything, I'm Steve Ovenall, so contact me, contact Sophie, contact Keith, contact Jauna, or as I said, your work coaches will be in contact with you pretty soon as well. So they're a really good point of contact, and they can do a lot more granular stuff with you. So if you've got particular questions about specific areas, they'll be able to answer those questions. Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
No worries. Okay. Right. I will leave you to it then.
All right. Thank you.
No worries.
Cheers.
Take care of yourself.